Recording is on.
All right, there we go. All right. I am with my man Shining Wolf right now. Say what's up to the peoples.
Howdy doody.
First off, I hope everybody's having a good weekend, and I know I'm having a good weekend so far. But I got some stuff that I need to do. But today I want to talk about Blerdcon, and I want to talk about it. I've already talked about it, but my man Shiny Wolf here gave me some nuggets that uh, I didn't know about, and I also wanted to bring him onto the show. So first things first, Shiny Wolf, how do you feel about Blerdcon? Because we have been to more than one Blerdcon. So it's like, what's your overall experience when it comes to Blerdcon?
Well, when I go to Blerdcon is usually more of a social experience, and that's not necessarily for me, and that's not necessarily the fault of the con like because people I go with usually don't really bother to go to the panels as much. They go to the merchants room, the game room, and then we walk around, socialize, have a party somewhere within the hotel areas. And then we go to like to the rave or the not really a rave, but like the party area where everybody, the more public party area. So that's pretty much my experience with BlurCon. Very nice social experience. You get to go around, talk to other blurs. They're usually very friendly, very open to talking and meeting new people. But this year, people weren't. I don't feel like people was really as friendly as previous years.
You really think so?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Well, maybe that was probably for me. Maybe I was socially awkward because of COVID. Haven't been out as much.
Mm. I mean, I guess, I mean, a lot of people like. I wore this Good Burger jersey, so a lot of people was complimenting me on my jersey and some shit like that.
Hmm.
And like, I was in the game room, and it's like a couple of people was just like, I had a couple conversations with a couple of people, so it was just, I would say it's like a little bit friendly. And then like my niece, who obviously you done seen, is just like she looked like she was enjoying herself. So it's one of those
Hmm.
things where I don't know. I thought it, like me personally, I thought it was cool. I did have a. I will say this, and this is a nitpick, not a big problem, but I will say it's a nitpick. I didn't like the fact that the mask is a badge, and I'm not one of those people who don't like wearing masks and some shit like that. But at
Hmm.
the same time, I felt like it was trying. It was. It felt cheap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, like the first time I went, we had lanyards and all that other stuff, just like a regular con did. And I guess today and just this year, even last year, they had a lanyard just to show like you've been there. But this year, your mask, the mask that they give you, which is a nice mask, but that was also your badge. So if you didn't, if you'd have lost your mask, that'd have been it. That'd have been your whole weekend.
Yeah, the badge, the badges I usually collect, and like the last 2 years now, you gotta collect like a face mask or something. Kind of a blower, but it's just a small thing.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a big old nitpick with us. So how do you? Okay, obviously you sent me a video, a YouTuber named Nerd Soul, and he was talking about the stuff, the controversy that was going around Blurcon. So I want to ask your opinion, like, what you think about his video and the controversy that's around Blurcon.
No, it's not really for me. It's not really like his video. I gathered like information from a couple of little places here and there, and from so far, from what I'm hearing is Hilton. He wanted to make he said that he was making a theme based around the fact that a lot of these medieval fantasy shows are adding black characters into series where they never really were at before because it's medieval fantasies are usually based around European and Norwegian culture stuff, related stuff, folklore and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he wanted to highlight the fact that Netflix and these streaming services was implementing, black people for diversity and stuff into these fantasy things. So he wanted to do the Fae thing, and apparently, like from what I looked up, the Fae culture thing isn't just fairies, because Fae means fairy. But from what I looked up, the Fae community thing is not exclusively about Fae. It's about medieval creatures, fantasy creatures like elves and stuff like that. Like
Uh,
the little whimsical, magical creatures that be in those medieval fantasy stuff.
right.
Because I know he brought up like Lords of the Rings and stuff like that, and I'm like, Lords of the Rings don't have any fairies in it, but they do have elves, so I guess they count within that culture too. But um, the whole controversy started where he said that this there is a fake community within the DMV area, I'm guessing,
Hmm.
and he highlighted that he's going to be working closely with her when he picked Faye to Black to be the next theme for next year's Blerdcon. And he said that he was going to be working closely with her. The controversy came in where people were going back to her and saying, "Oh, congratulations for you're working with Blerdcon and having some success with the Black Fae Day community and stuff." And she said that she had no notice of this being a thing. No one had talked to her about this, so she ain't know nothing about it. And that's where everybody got in a tizzy about him and Blurcon and him stealing people's ideas.
Yeah, because for what he done said that the when the theme was homecoming, I guess he stole that
Hmm.
from HBC UConn, and I have been seeing HBC UConn, and I ain't even put. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure that that one is a red flag because I'm not so sure that one's a red flag because I know. Well, I'm acquainted with the woman who does HVC UConn, and her and Hilton worked together before, and they worked together to promote her HBC UConn. So as far as I know, I don't really know a if that's not a collaboration that they had of some sort.
Uh,
Cause I
um,
know, cause I known the both of them for years before there was even the HBU song. They worked together with Blerdcon, so I'm not sure that's a red flag. That might just be, you know, um, a convenient scapegoat as far as I know. I don't know if he stole that or not, or if they collabed or not on that.
uh, That's why I was like, I was wanting to. It's just one of the things where I was like, I probably should get some answers, and maybe that's why I'm trying to make sure things are cleared up because I don't know a lot of things. I don't want to say sound far fetched, but obviously he was telling people because I will say this Hilton I guess he said if you don't like if you don't like it don't come, and I know that threw a lot of people off as well.
He was talking about the cosplay incident where a white cosplayer won the cosplay competition at Blerdcon,
Right.
and I'm like, it's really the judges that made that decision, and he stood behind the judges, which I get. But I also get people who think that's kind of like what the hell situation really, because it's like you got BlurCon, which is a black convention, and then you have this white cosplayer cosplaying card capture Sakura winning the competition.
I thought it was funny. I'm not even gonna hold you. I laughed. It's like it's like it's like how ironic because I was like how ironic that a white woman win a fucking award at a black convention, and I was like, it was just kind of I was like, it was really ironic, but it's like, but it's also funny at the same time.
Hmm.
So when someone told me that a white girl won that BlurCon,
Hmm.
I laughed.
But
I was like, that's some
but
funny shit.
but at the same time, being a public space, you can't really discriminate against people like that.
Which is understandable.
Because could you imagine you go to fucking a fucking I don't know, an Asian convention based around the Asian Americans, and a black person in the competition, they just never won or couldn't win because they were black. Most people wouldn't be cool with that.
If a black person didn't win that, I'll probably laugh too. Because it's like
Or at like any like they can't really discriminate like that for real. They said,
it,
"Oh, Blerdcon should just be a black." Now, I will hold them where they were saying anybody can be a blurred, because I don't agree with that shit. I'm
I
like,
don't
a
either.
blurred is blurred. Blurred, if you blurred means black nerd. It don't mean anything else. It don't mean Indian nerd. It don't mean Hispanic nerd. It don't mean Asian nerd. Blurred means black nerd. Like other people can come, like how I see it. Other people could come in support of, but it ain't about them though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you're being honest, it shows in the convention, because if you look at all the advertisement and all the like the different art and comics that's being sold at the convention, it's all centered around blackness, is it not?
It is.
You
And
know,
I
all the
noticed that at the
hmm
dealers too.
hmm
It was a lot of blackness. Which is like um my personal view is just like, and I'm not gonna say I know the guy that runs it, Hilton. Like
hmm
you know him better. You've had more conversations with him. Like I've had my conversations been short, and I
hmm
think he's a cool guy. But I also feel like the way he's I guess when it comes to when he's saying stuff in the media, it might give people the wrong impression. Because this dude, he was like, he's just catching off in the name. And I wouldn't, and it don't feel like that when you go to the con.
Mm-mm. It's definitely a black convention when you go to the con. You can feel it in the atmosphere and everything that's going on in there.
Exactly, and I want like if like and
I
to
would
me,
argue.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I would argue it's more black than it is nerdy, to be honest with you.
I will agree with you. There
Like
was a lot.
the most nerdy thing that's going on in there is the costumes and maybe the game room. Everything else is most like you don't hear people blasting anime tunes up in there, do you? That
No,
much. They be blasting like black music, like music that you hear on a regular basis, pretty much.
yeah, there's a lot of hip hop. A lot of hip hop was played at that convention. So
Even in like the party rooms, right?
yeah,
The party room, like the public one, they will have music. Like if you was going to like a white or like a all encompassing anime convention where all was like just everybody in general, they will play like anime music or game music in between that stuff, right? Or they'll play remixes of game music. Are you familiar with that? Have you
yeah,
noticed that?
I've heard a couple of mixes.
Yeah, well, they have like, or like my boy DJ Senpai. Shout out to DJ Senpai. He would play like that Yu Yu Hakusho mix up in there, right?
Right.
But at Blurcon, you don't really hear a lot of that. It's mostly just like black music. That's just something I noticed. So it's like my point being is like it's more black than it is really anime, really.
I totally agree. Especially if you ever been to some
hmm
of Senpai's parties. He's in where's he at right now? He's in DreamCon as we
hmm
speak, and like he's just doing a show at DreamCon. Um, if you ever been to any of his events, they're kind of lit. I'm not even
hmm
gonna lie. Like I've been to a lot of his shows, and
Oh yes.
they're really fucking lit. And motherfuckers, and every year that he's done his shows, motherfuckers show up. Like they will literally show up for his shows. And I've been there on Friday where they also have a DJ room and all that stuff. When he's not there, there's no one there. But on Saturday when he does his shows, there are people there. So he definitely brings a party. And when you go to a show, it's a lot of hip hop. There's some old school, some new school. There's some Afro beats, some dance hall, and he'll even some little rock and roll. Like he threw in Papa Roach, like this party, and like you said, he'll throw anime mixes in there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he does everything. And I always enjoy myself. So what do you? I don't know. How do you feel about? Do you? Is he going to work with the people for the Black Fay Day? Is he really going to work? Because as far as I'm concerned, as far as like things has been shown to me, he hasn't like reached out to them. Like they kind of like just found, like you said, she kind of just found out on a whim. So is he really going to work?
Yeah. So the Jasmine lady who's in charge of the Fade community, I guess in the DMV area. I'm not really sure on that one, but if it's like where area she's from. But it seems like to me that she said she reached out to Hilton and he hasn't reached back. That's what she says. Um, I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. I'm not sure if they're going to come together on this or not. But it seems like there's a lot of fire about including her, and even she's giving him a little bit of fire from like I seen some posts on her Facebook and Instagram. It seems like she's like giving him some fire on not on like including her on something that she wasn't notified of.
Right,
Like she said, she doesn't have a problem with him using the Fae theme because medieval fantasy, Fae, all that shit. It's been around for a long time. So anybody can really use it. It's like nobody has a coin on medieval fantasy. You know what I mean?
right,
Nobody has a copyright for elves or dwarfs or any of that shit. But
exactly.
she just has a problem with her including her without telling her anything about it. So far that's what I gather from it. And I say that like that may not be the best move to include her without actually notifying her. But I don't think it's the worst offense. I don't think it's a death sentence like a lot of people are talking about saying it's a death like it's like fuck Blerdcon and all that shit. I think that's going a little bit too far with it. But like they're adding that on top of the black person. I mean the white person when the white lady winning the cosplay event and the the college thing, which I don't really know if that was an issue by any means because, like I said, like from what I've seen from the both of them, those people, they both interact and work together a lot. That could have been a collaboration for all I know, unless someone has information otherwise. I don't really see that as a problem.
I will say this. I don't think I wouldn't say it's a death sentence, or I don't know if they're going with death sentence. Well, I know a lot of people saying fuck Blurcon,
Some
or
people
some.
are saying don't go to BlurCon no more.
Oh,
Some people are saying that,
I
yes.
know he said don't go to Blur. I know the dude Nerso in the video he was saying don't go to
Hmm.
Blurcon, and I'm like, as a I don't to me it was just like I said this in the video I didn't post, but I want BlurCon to kind of like be expand, and I want it to be like get bigger and better every year to where it can compete with stuff like Otakon and Kasacon and any other conventions that that's around DC.
Hmm.
I will say this because like this is and be mindful this is like the third controversy in a row that he had to deal with the anybody can be a blurred thing, which threw a lot of people off. The white girl winning, which that's not his fault. And like I don't like I said I don't blame him for that because the judges was the one that really gave the white girl that the the W, which is not really his fault. But I know a lot of people was just like they put that on him, and then you got the whole Fade thing. I
Mm-hmm.
I feel like okay, it's just like for most people, it's just like why is it every time I hear about Blerdcon, is a controversy behind it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want that. I don't want that. I don't want that for that brother because, like I said, I enjoy going there, and a lot of people do enjoy going there. So I feel like, at least, hopefully, he works with the woman. So like everything could be, and everything goes without a hitch, without like saying, okay, there was no controversy. Because, um, like I said, me personally, as someone that's a frequent goer, I like to see that spots like that succeed. And us as black people, we kind of like want to see each other win without cutting each other off or like trying to step on each other. I would like to,
Black black
yeah,
folks these days are quick to cut each other off.
yeah. I don't want that to, and I do not want that to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's going to
It's,
happen. That's the culture we at right now.
and I hate that. I
Hmm.
I've said plenty of times I hate that, and it's like we don't have to do that.
If somebody annoys you, and these days, if somebody annoys you, you have the green light and the of course you have the right, but you have the green light to cut them off. That's how people be running shit these days.
Yeah, it's like which is like I can sort of see why people do that, but also I'm the kind of person who's just like I talk to you first before I cut you off,
Hmm.
because I don't know, because if it's like my first offense and you cut me off, I'm like you couldn't talk to me about it because maybe I didn't know, and obviously if I
Hmm.
didn't know, you it's like you just gonna cut me off. It's like wow, that's kind of a dick move. It's like I understand, you want to keep your peace, but like someone like me is just like, okay, don't do that around this person. I won't do this around this person. I try to check myself. But
Well, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but a lot of people these days are fucking dicks. I ain't gonna. Can we say that on YouTube? I don't know.
yeah, you can say it.
Yeah, a lot of people these days are fucking dicks. I ain't gonna even. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it for you. A lot of people these days are dicks.
So,
Passive dicks too. Passive, very passive.
and I'm not gonna lie, if I never went to Blerdcon and I saw that Nerd Soul video you showed me, I probably wouldn't go. But
If you
since
haven't went,
I probably would have never, if I never would have went to Blerdcon and I just
mhm,
saw that Nerd Soul video, I probably wouldn't go. But as someone that's went there and like experienced it, and also like had a couple conversations with him because he's like cool, it's just like it's hard for me. It's like I tell you, like if you don't, I'd probably be one of the people say if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But as someone that went, you're going to have a good time. You're going to have fun there. So it's just one of those things where it's just like that's what I'm gonna normally tell people. It's like, so what's the guy like? It's like I only met him a couple times, but the times I did talk to him, he was pretty cool. Didn't seem like a jerk. Didn't seem not really narcissistic, not arrogant. It was just like seemed like he was on his shit.
yeah, he's very much a community man.
Yeah, he's very much. Now, like I said, hopefully he do work with. Hopefully he does work with the people and work with the woman because
Hmm.
he doesn't like. This is a controversy that he doesn't need. Like,
Right.
especially, and it's weird that it comes after every, to me, a successful Blerdcon.
Hmm.
Like every time, like to me, every time a successful Blerdcon comes around, you got him. It's like a controversy comes right behind it, and I don't want that. I don't want that for that brother because, like I said, you done built the good convention. Like I just want him to build on it.
Right. I heard that they was actually expanding.
And yeah, that was kind of my other nitpick.
You know,
It feels too
he's
small.
he said he was expand. He was working on expanding it to another place,
I hope so. I
and that
really
would be
do
great.
because like I thought because I thought this year was going to be. I don't know when he said chocolate because he was promoting it as Chocolate City or some shit like that. I thought it was going. Like I said, I thought it was going to be like in the Hyatt where they have Awesome Con and Otakon. It's like
Mm.
now I understand that space is like super big. If you ever been in, anybody's ever been in that building,
Yeah,
that
I don't
place
think you
is
need all that. I don't think you need
that
all
place
that
is
for it.
super fucking big.
Mm.
So if he's going to expand, I hope it's going to be something bigger than that. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I like the spot that he had before. I do like it.
Mm.
But I will say this year, the game section wasn't impressed
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
because last year he had all the arcade stands in one area and the game room in the other area, and I thought that was cool. This year, the game room and the arcade stands was in the same area, and there wasn't a lot of arcade stands because, like, I'm not gonna lie, he had Marvel 2, and I met a couple people that played. I guess they played professionally or like played in the big old New York scene when Marvel 2 was really popular. So I got to run my matches with them. This year I didn't see many people like that. So and plus, like the machine when they was playing Third Strike, the arcade just was like broken. They were wobbly. I was like, they need to fix this. I was like very unimpressed with excuse me. I was very unimpressed with that. Did you have any like nitpicks or like things you feel like Blerdcon needed to improve on?
Other than expanding the space, I didn't really check out any panels, so I can't really say too much about that.
That was
Oh,
kind of like my other nitpick. I didn't
oh
know
yeah.
what was going. I didn't know what was going on besides with panels. There was no
You could,
brochure.
you could. There was no brochure, but they had it like on the website or something like that. So
I'm not a website person,
I
and
feel
plus
you.
that
I feel you. I
that
ain't.
hotel you don't get service anyway, or you get very little service.
That's true.
So why would you like try to count it on a website where a place where you don't get service or very little service? I wouldn't know what the fuck going on.
Hmm. True that. True that.
And these are like I said, these are nitpicks. Like I feel like it could easily be fixed. These are not like these are bad mark because I don't think there's a bad mark except for the controversy that comes behind it. But
Hmm.
the nitpicks part is like it could be. I feel like he could easily fix that. He's like, okay, I understand that. Let's do it this way. Because like even the registration building, I had to go to another building to
Yeah,
register.
I didn't. I didn't really like that either.
I didn't like that. It
But
was
I guess they was trying to. I guess they was trying to have it so they have more space. I guess in the main hotel, the hotel where the events being held at.
it don't make sense because like last year when they was actually registering people,
Hmm.
it was no traffic.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was just like no traffic. So I was like, well, I understand. It was like I understand because they wasn't taking no cash either. He was like, you really, I don't know why. I think it's because of pandemic and COVID or something like that. But don't quote me on that. But it was just like they wasn't taking cash. There wasn't people taking cash. It wasn't taking checks or credit cards. You had to literally go online and register your tickets, and then like give
Really?
them a QR scan. Yeah, that's how I did it. Like
Hmm.
that's why I think that's why they had it in the hotel because the hotel had a computer in there, and there was a like if you want to buy a ticket there, you go into a computer, you give them your information, and then you go give them a QR code or whatever your little ID number or something like that, and uh you're signed in. They give you your mask, and then you go on about your day.
Well,
See, listen, I
yeah,
didn't,
that's a lot. That's a lot of shit.
yeah, and I didn't like that. I didn't like
Oh
that.
yeah, I didn't. I didn't either. I went to the other room, the other
Yeah,
hotel.
now was it complicated? No, not really complicated, but at the same time, it just felt like too much.
Yeah, but
But I
other
feel
than
like
that, Hmm?
even then, you could have like at least had laptops. It's like, okay, you could do it in this fucking area, and like if you ain't, you could just laptop in there, give me your information right there, and all that other bullshit. Like, look, it was just doing too much. That's how I felt.
Yeah, but
Um,
other than that, I don't really have too many complaints. Other than those things that we brought up.
okay, so does this after all this does this hinder you from going to Blerdcon next year or
Mm,
no?
no, not at all.
Me neither. And I'm probably saying this because I actually went. But I do want I'm saying this. I do want Hilton to work with the girl with the black fade. Because
Oh
even
yeah,
like
Jasmine.
yeah, Jasmine, excuse me. Because even then she still sound like I just want to work with the brother and make sure this goes all accordingly and let's get some stuff out of it, get some cool ideas out of it. I feel like I hope he. That's what I'm saying. I hope he does work with it so all this stuff can like work very well with each other.
Right.
All right. So you got anything last thing to say before I end this?
I got something to say.
Go ahead. Say.
I feel like a lot of people just want to have something to complain about. That's why there's always some type of controversy, really. If I'm being honest, like we live in this current culture where everybody want to have something to be rah 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 about, and I feel like partially that's what's going on here. Of course, like I understand it's not a good practice to include people on stuff to proclaim to publicly say you are including or you are working with somebody on something and you haven't confronted them about it yet. Probably should have said we are looking to work with her on this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I said, like I don't know if it's like that big of a deal to really be going balls to the walls on really. And saying I'm not going to Blerdcon anymore because of this. This is outrageous. This is crazy. Rah! I think that's people looking to be outraged on something, looking for something to fight and feel important about.
Hmm.
Not good practice, sure. Something to really get up in arms about, not really. Now, the whole thing about everybody can be a blurred or Blerdcon being like about minorities in general, I'm like, I agree with them on that. Like you could do what you will on that one, because I kind of agree with that. I agree with them on that. The whole thing about the cosplayer thing, like I understand both sides. I understand like you like this is a public space. You can't really discriminate like that in a public space. But at the same time, it is a black convention where we to make blacks feel important, where other cons don't make them feel important or notice sometimes. So I get both ends on that one. But the Fayday thing is like, well, I understand where he could have did that better. I don't think it's like as big of a deal as some people are making it. And plus, people saying he should apologize and blah blah blah. Like he already apologized. If you watched it live, he apologized already. So
They didn't
what
like
more
his
do you want?
apology.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's all I got to say on that is eh. I don't like your apology. You should grovel. I'm like, no.
This is why when people ask for apologies, I've always go, well, even if you did, would you like it? And most of the time, I'll be dead ass. It's just like I understand some people if you're wrong, you should
Mhm.
apologize.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I see what a misstep is at.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fine to address the misstep, but I'm like, y'all going a little bit too. I mean, I guess if you add it up with other stuff, but like that whole college theme thing, I'm like, I don't even know if that's even a mark because you don't know. I don't know. Like, you could look it up. Matter of fact, after this journey, we should look it up and see. But for all I know, they could have been working together on that because I was at the convention where she was right next to the Blerdcon booth and she was advertising the college thing with right next to Blerdcon and they work together all the time. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I got disconnected. Hold on.
Yeah, you was kind of like you was far away from your phone. But my last words, and I'm gonna just say this: if you are on the fence of going, I will say this: for someone that I've went, I've always had a good time. I like seeing our people like in a happy space where they could be themselves. There's a lot of creativity in there, especially with some of the cosplays I've seen. So a lot of good creativity. There's a lot of good people like with great costumes, and I've seen a bunch of bomb ass cosplays. Now I could understand if you've never been and the controversy seems like he doesn't care about you as a black person. Trust me. I like I said, I always felt good going into this. I never felt no bullshit. It's always like after the convention is over is where I hear some of this controversy. But my time during there, I don't feel it. I don't see it. And every time I see people around, they're having a good time. So if I'm not going to tell you not to go or to go, but I'm going to tell you every time I went, I've had a blast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like majority of the time I go there, I have a blast and other things. So it's like I don't see no reason not to go. I'm like, if the Fay Day thing bothers you that much, and the cosplay event, and then the whole inclusivity bothers you that much, I mean, that's just your choice. But I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go as Pimp C just so I can tell everybody you ain't a pimp, you's a fairy.
Are you gonna wear some elf ears to the next one?
Hell fucking no.
You're not going as Nicholas.
Nicholas. I don't
the wood elf.
I don't knock Black Fay Day. I'm not knocking none of that shit. Like I said, I want you to be creative. That's not.
I'm going as Nicholas.
It's not my forte.
The dark elf.
The dark elves.
The dark elf.
I'm gonna be a Black Panther elf, maybe.
How does that work?
I don't know. I was talking about the blue-eyed white devil elf or some shit like that. I'm probably have a Kofi on. A Kofi with big old elf ears and some shit like that. I don't know. It's just just because it's not my forte doesn't mean I don't want you to do it. I embrace cosplay 100%. It's just not one of my cosplay is just not one of the things where I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So any last words before in this?
No, I addressed everything I pretty much wanted to address.
All right. And I also address. All right. My name is Oskino Fly. That is ShiningWolf. And we are out. Peace.
Peace. We be out.